Yesterday we saw Cybertrucks in 2 separate showrooms, and it seems that it is also coming to Florida. I googled the address, and the address does seem to be a Tesla showroom address. So we might indeed start seeing a lot of Cybertrucks in a lot of different showrooms very soon. We also got some new Cybertruck pictures. I like how they put the Cybertruck on the screen here. And we got a glimpse at some of the controls here. There's a car wash mode. I don't think my Tesla has that. And Drive Tesla is asking, is the rear view mirror in the Cybertruck removable? Because you don't see a rear view mirror. But before, we have seen this, so maybe you don't really need to have a rear view mirror.
Look at this thing. Killian, oh, I wish you were here. Look at that guy.
I think that was a very common reaction from all the videos we have seen. Yeah, I think it is pretty clear that it will be a huge advertisement for Tesla, just them rolling on the streets, people seeing them. It is looking pretty good for Tesla. And this Cybertruck has to be the dirtiest Cybertruck I have seen so far. And there's another Cybertruck on display in California. This one is near Long Beach. And here's one more. This one is in New York City. So this is the 4th Cybertruck on display. This is great. Tesla has now started notifying owners through the app that congestion fees will be applied under certain conditions, which is when the supercharger is busy and your battery level is above a certain level. They did not specify exactly what that level is, but I assume it might be different for each supercharger, maybe based on how busy it is and based on how close another supercharger is that is not congested. I think it's a good update and I welcome it. Oh, and Tesla has actually just given us more details about all of this. According to Tesla's website, the congestion fee is $1 per minute, which is not bad at all, and only applies at 90% state of charge or above, which is really generous. So I really like this as a consumer. Many of us thought that this would be at about 80% maybe. Also, it is currently only applicable in the US. You will receive an alert on your touchscreen and app, after which you will have a 5-minute grace period to disconnect and leave before congestion fees apply. So I think that's a pretty good move from Tesla to add that 5-minute grace period. Although I think some people will think that $1 per minute is quite a bit if you stay there for, let's say, 1 hour somehow. That's going to be $60. Or if you are eating and you stay 30 minutes longer because maybe your meal is late, you're going to pay $30 for that. But I'm pretty sure you could just easily disconnect from the supercharger and then move your vehicle, park it someplace else to avoid that congestion fee. But because the state of charge is set at 90%, I don't think many people will mind the $1 per minute charge, because I mean, it's 90%, so you can charge your battery almost to, yeah, that's pretty generous. By the way, currently the idle fees are 50 cents per minute if 50% of the stations are occupied. However, some Tesla owners are not fans of this. Many say it is unfair to those who stay plugged in a little longer than the navigation recommends, like in situations when towing or driving in cold weather. But you can charge to 90%. You should be able to comfortably make it to the next supercharger, no problem. Now that we know more details about the Cybertruck, Farzad created this table comparing all of the electric pickup trucks. We know that usually Tesla's vehicles have the best performance for the price that you pay. And looking at this, we can make some educated guesses. Now, the bed of the Cybertruck actually is looking really good, so I like that. Payload also is fairly high compared to these other trucks, and towing is also fairly high. The only question is, what is the price going to be exactly? Now, in the beginning, it could be on the higher side, but as Tesla starts making more and more these Cybertrucks, the price is likely to drop. And by then, the price should be lower than many of those trucks. Farzad is thinking that the Cybertruck dual motor with 350 miles could start at $69,000. Here's more good news for us Tesla stock investors. Ford says it is scaling back plans for a $3.5 billion battery plant in Michigan as consumers move to electric vehicles more slowly than expected labor costs rise and the company moves to cut costs. We are moving forward with the plant, albeit in a slightly smaller size and scope than what we originally announced. Increased labor costs factor into Ford's decision to scale back the plans. Ford CFO last month said the new deal would add $850 to $900 per vehicle assembled in labor costs. We are now seeing real effects of the strike take place, and it is not great for Ford. How is it going to compete in the long term? By making less electric vehicles is the answer, because right now with every one they sell they lose money, and they are not keen on investing a lot more money into EVs, it appears. They are nowhere near as committed to EVs as Tesla is. It still looks like there's something going on between Tesla and Indonesia. The Indonesian Coordinating Ministry for Maritime and Investment Affairs denied claims that Tesla withdrew its investment plan in Indonesia. But I am not really expecting Tesla to do anything in Indonesia in the medium to short term. Elon posted this: "There's a large graveyard filled with my enemies. I do not wish to add to it, but I will, if given no choice. Those who pick fights with me do so at their own peril, but maybe this is their lucky day." And oh yeah, I forgot to add that I am my own worst enemy by far. No need for others to dig my grave when I'm doing it so well myself. We know that Elon is going to fight Media Matters in a huge lawsuit, but luckily for Elon, Texas Attorney General has opened an investigation into Media Matters for potential fraudulent activity already. Here's a full summary of Elon suing Media Matters. I think it is very likely that Elon is going to win this one, which I think is also important for us Tesla stock investors, because if they continue to trying to make an impression that there's a lot of anti-Semitic and fringe content on X, and at the same time a lot of ads are shown next to it, it's bad for X, because a lot of advertisers do not want that, and then they stop advertising, which means Twitter/X does not make any profit really, and then maybe Elon would have to sell Tesla stock again, which does seem a lot more likely after all of these advertisers have stopped advertising on X again. But if Elon wins this lawsuit, it will prevent a lot of these organizations from trying to defame X, because they know if they try, they are going to face some serious consequences. We know that Cruise is going through a disaster, but this disaster just keeps getting worse. Not only did the CEO and the chief product officer have just resigned. In a live stream meeting Monday, GM executives, including the CEO of GM, did little to assuage employees' concerns. People who listened told Reuters the company did not address a long list of questions workers had compiled concerning Cruise's future or about a controversial plan to halt a share resale program. I mean, during a time of huge crisis, you try to reassure people. You try to do something that would show, yeah, you are committed to this, you are serious about this, but it doesn't seem like the CEO of GM is actually trying to do that. There's a good possibility that Mary Barra just wants to end Cruise, maybe sell it or just close it, because let's also not forget that GM put money in Nikola. So Cruise, as James, is now worse than betting on Nikola. $3.5 billion in the toilet. Ouch. There's a theory of what's going on at OpenAI. We know that OpenAI wanted to raise more money at a valuation of $80 or $90 billion, up from $29 billion. The theory goes like this. Sam Altman says we are raising at a $90 billion valuation. The CEO of Microsoft says, how about I just acquire the entire company for $0 and give you a blank check? Sure, that works. We'll need to stage an elaborate spectacle, do you think? That you could make the board livid so that they fire you. But that's just a theory, and we still don't know what happened exactly. Why did the board make that decision to fire Sam Altman? But we just found out that over the weekend, OpenAI's board approached its top startup rival about a potential merger. They wanted the CEO of this rival startup to become the CEO of basically OpenAI. The co-founders of this rival startup were also executives at OpenAI until 2020, but they broke from their employer over disagreements regarding how to ensure AI safe development and governance. So it does seem perhaps that the reason why Sam Altman was fired was because perhaps he did something that the board really did not like in terms of AI safety, although we have heard that that's not really the case, but I'm not really that sure. More drama is sure to come from this story later. So I just literally checked the news, and here's what I saw. The new OpenAI CEO threatens to resign unless the board explains why Sam Altman was fired. Less than 48 hours ago, he was appointed as the new CEO.